Okay, good morning again, Year 4, and welcome to your home learning literacy lesson number 3. This lesson, we are looking at starting sentences in a variety of ways. So a variety means lots of different ways. So we are going to look at starting sentences in 3 different ways in this lesson. We are going to look at starting sentences with similes, starting sentences with adverbs, and starting sentences with alternative verbs. We have learned how to do all of those things before, so this should be revision, and we are looking at moving those bits of descriptive language to the front of a sentence. So, we are going to start with similes. Here are 3 excellent examples of similes that Year 4s wrote earlier in the year. So, as peaceful as a human in prayer, as menacing as a furious tiger, as beautiful as starlight, and as dark as a black pen. So we know that you can already write some brilliant similes. Similes usually start with as something, or with like, and we use them to compare things. So, here is a picture from Girl and Robot, and I have written a simile, a sentence that starts with a simile to describe something that is happening in this picture. As if she were a newborn baby, comma, the robot cradled her gently in its arms. Okay, and I've written check for commas because after I have started my sentence with a simile, I need to make sure that I put a comma in to separate the 2 clauses. Now, using the same picture, I would like you to pause this video and on your piece of paper, write a simile, a sentence starting with a simile to describe something in this picture. So pause it now and off you go. Well done, Year 4. Okay, following on from this, we are going to look at starting sentences using adverbs. So again, I have put 3 examples of adverbs on the board. Menacingly, comma, the lion glared at its prey. Mercilessly, comma, Miss Shaw kept her whole class in for detention at break time. And dazzlingly, comma, the stars shone in the sky. So adverbs describe a verb. So here we've had glared is the verb, and the tiger or the lion glared menacingly. Here the verb is kept. Miss Shaw kept her children in for detention mercilessly. She kept them mercilessly. And here the verb is shone. The stars shone in the sky dazzlingly. So our adverbs describe a verb and they usually, but not always, end in ly. So here we have a sentence that begins with an adverb. Hopefully, comma, she pulled the lever. And you could have different adverbs in there. Nervously, comma, she pulled the lever. Or determinedly, comma, she pulled the lever. Again, check for commas. I need to make sure that my comma separates my adverb from the rest of the sentence. So, using this picture again, and there is an adverb word map that's been uploaded onto Google Classroom for you, so please don't choose any of the ones I have used. I would like you to write a sentence describing this picture that starts with an adverb. So pause your video now and off you go. Well done, Year 4. Okay, the last part of today's lesson is looking at starting sentences using alternative verbs. Okay, so here an alternative verb is an exciting version of an ordinary or a boring verb. So instead of said and looked and ran and walked, we can use more interesting and more descriptive verbs. So here I have mumbled. When you mumble is when you don't say something properly. So, instead of saying the sentence gazing up at the robot, if you mumbled it, it would be gazing up at the robot. Okay? Gazed is instead of looked. So rather than Miss Hill looked at Miss Shaw, you could say Miss Hill gazed at Miss Shaw's beautiful top. Okay, means to look for a long time at something you like. And instead of ran here, we have sprinted, which means to run, but means to run very quickly. So, I have given 3 examples here of sentences that start with alternative verbs because this is a little bit more difficult than the first 2 that we looked at. Here is my first one. Gazing up at the robot, so looking for a long time at something that you like. She likes the robot. She was thankful it had saved her life. Now, when we start a sentence with an alternative verb, even though we are writing in the past, we don't end with ed. So here the verb is gazed, but here it is gazing. We still have the past tense, the simple past, it comes in our second verb. So gazing up at the robot, comma, she was thankful it had saved her life. So our first clause has an ing verb, then a comma, and our second verb, our second clause, tells us how the person in the first clause felt or thought. Okay, so the girl was gazing up at the robot and she was thankful it had saved her life. The second one, cradling the girl in his arms, comma, cradling means the same as holding. The robot felt as protective as a new parent. So ing verb, comma, past tense, felt, thought, wondered, was. These are really helpful words to tell us how to start the second clause. And finally, lying in the robot's arms, comma, the girl wondered or the girl thought how she would ever repay the robot. So, first clause begins with an ing verb, an exciting ing verb. And the second clause tells us how that character feels or felt or what they were thinking. So, a little bit trickier, but can you now pause your video and write one sentence beginning with an alternative verb to describe this picture? We have uploaded an alternative verb word mat onto Google Classroom for you. Okay, well done Year 4. Now finally, your learning task. You are going to write 6 sentences about the story. 1 sentence for each section of your story map. Please don't write them on your story map because we would like these sentences to be easy to read. Please write them on a fresh Word document or a new piece of paper. Your 6 sentences must include 2 sentences that begin with a simile, 2 sentences that begin with an adverb, and 2 sentences that begin with an alternative verb. Please do not forget to check your sentences for commas. You should have commas after the simile, after the adverb, separating the 2 clauses if your sentence starts with an alternative verb. And we will look forward to looking at your work this evening. Thank you, Year 4s.